Wildfires are nearly contained, but crews brace for new challenges. That's our top story tonight. It's been more than a week since the historic fires started in western Nebraska. The Morrill and Cottonwood fires in total have burned roughly 800,000 acres, larger than the state of Rhode Island. The fires have killed livestock, destroyed structures, farmland, and resulted in the death of one person. The fires are nearly contained, 100% contained. However, concerns for an active wildfire season are high due to the wet winter season coming to an end. Officials remain on high alert as the state faces more dry conditions.
Blizzard conditions last week and hot temperatures this week. Forecaster Mitchell Brandt has the latest with this week's forecast. Mitch, what do you have for us?
Yeah, guys, it feels like I can finally give you some good news. We are officially in spring as of last week, and it feels like it. Today we hit 68 degrees. We are still warming up, so there's a chance we get all the way up to 70 today. We'll have to see. We might get just shy, but today a nice, cool, calm day, 5 to 10 miles an hour on your wind, so it felt great. Tonight, again, we dropped down a little bit. We still feel like a nice, cool spring day. It'll be partly cloudy and only 46 degrees. Our wind does pick up a little bit more tonight, but nothing too insanely crazy compared to what we've been used to this time of year in Nebraska. Tomorrow, that is what's going to feel great. 91 degrees. It feels like summer already. We're already in 90s in March. It's unbelievable. We got a nice light wind to ease you into these nice warm temps that we're having. We're not going to just jump straight in. That's how it feels so great tomorrow. We take a look. Lincoln and Omaha, they got in about upper 60s. Lincoln, again, hitting that upper 70 today on the high temps. And we take a look. Scotts Bluff, all the way up in 80 degrees, getting a little warmer out in the western side of the state. Now, that little warmer is also leading into one major thing. We heard about the wildfires already happening. You can see that we are in some extreme drought situations. Now, we're not looking at anything quite yet that is going to be helpful for these conditions, especially this week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, hardly anything. We take a look Monday, Tuesday. Again, very minimal chances. We do look into some early situations next week, maybe some Wednesday, Thursday, we look at some rain. But right now, this week, the wildfires are not getting any help from the natural causes in rain. We take a look at the 7-day forecast. Once again, 91 degrees on Wednesday, 73 on Thursday, 62, 78, and 82. And then we round next Tuesday off at 84 degrees. Beautiful temps. I tell you what, it just doesn't get better. I say this every week because it keeps warming up, but it doesn't get better than this.
I really hope that the spring temperatures are here to stay and in the coming weeks.
It looks like we might, there's a couple drop downs we'll have this week, but it looks like we might be finally getting into these good temps.
Lovely.
Well, as we dive deeper into the month of March, basketball is on the front of many minds with both the men's and women's March Madness tournaments underway and into their second weekends.
Although Nebraska's women's team was bounced in Durham after a first four victory, the men had a historic weekend in their first and second round games in Oklahoma City.
Nebraska Nightly's Harmon Johnson was in Oklahoma City for the weekend, providing coverage on YouTube, and now he joins us live in the studio with more on the big dance. Harmon?
Yeah, guys, thank you so much. Let's get caught up on what everyone is talking about right now here in Lincoln, the Madness of March, the NCAA men's basketball tournament. I was lucky to be among those in Oklahoma City providing coverage of Nebraska's historic weekend, and all three of my stories are currently up on the Nebraska Nightly YouTube channel. But in case you haven't been following along, Nebraska made program history with their first tournament win in 9 tries last Thursday, defeating Troy handily. Then, after an off day on Friday, the Cornhuskers clashed with the Vanderbilt Commodores, where Braden Frager laid in a basket with 2 seconds left to take the lead 74-72. Nebraska was almost on the wrong side of history on Saturday, though, as an awe-inspiring three-quarter court shot by Vandy's Tyler Tanner was halfway down before rimming out. Following the game, Husker forward Rink Mass caught up with the media to reflect on the successful weekend in OKC.
Well, I came here with the goal of at least winning a NCAA game for this program, and now to get 2, that's pretty special. Last year was pretty tough, but like throughout that whole year, this is what you work so hard towards, and I'm so grateful to stand where I'm at.
So with those pair of program-defining wins, Nebraska advances to their first Sweet 16, which is just a few hours farther south of OKC in Houston. The Huskers, if we take a look at the bracket, will play Iowa for the third time this year after splitting the series each team's home arena. The Hawkeyes are coming off of a physical win over the reigning national champions, the Florida Gators, Sunday night in Tampa. The bottom half of the bracket will pit the third of 6 remaining Big Ten teams, Illinois, against Kelvin Sampson's Houston Cougars in what should be a regional semifinal Thursday that should see a lot of red in the Toyota Center. The winners of each game will face off on Saturday for a chance to represent the South region in the Final Four in Indianapolis during Easter weekend. Nebraska's Berke Buchtengel, who is having quite the tournament for himself, doesn't think the Huskers are done dancing quite yet.
I hope you're not going to lose any game and go to Final Four, elite, then Final Four, then the finals. But even if we somehow lose, I'm just so happy and grateful for this team to have this feeling.
Just like last week, Nebraska Nightly will again be represented well at the big dance in Houston as sports director Trey Marler, as well as Unlimited Sports Preview Show contributor Chase Rue will be providing the main coverage, similar to mine, for our Friday show and on the Nebraska Nightly YouTube channel. Also in Houston will be Unlimited Sports Preview Show host Bobby Hessling and Justice Rohde, again on the radio call, which can be heard exclusively on 90.3 FM KRNU here in Lincoln. That's your March Madness update. Stick around later in the newscast as Matthew Mills will have the rest of our sports block. Let's go back to the desk.
Thank you, Harmon. If you are heading to Houston for the Sweet 16, you may want to arrive early to this airport. Travelers have been struggling with long wait times. Now ICE is stepping in to help TSA during the government shutdown. This week, the Trump administration assigned ICE agents to 14 airports nationwide. With the recent controversy surrounding ICE, travelers have expressed concerns with agents being there.
Grocery bills continue to rise. A family of 4 now spends between $1,000 to $1,600.
While ICE agents are being paid for their work at airports, TSA workers are continuing without pay, and there's no end in sight for the shutdown.
The war continues to rage in Iran. With the ongoing tensions, prices are on the rise.
Grocery bills continue to rise. A family of 4 now spends between $1,000 to $1,600 on food every month, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And farmers say those prices could go even higher. They're facing surging costs that will likely be passed on to consumers.
Our food supply is national security.
Kevin Maynard is a soybean and corn farmer in Missouri. He's been farming since 1982. Soybeans are used in a variety of products like animal feed, food, and bio.
We can plan and we can make the best decisions that we can, but it's all subject to Mother Nature and the cost of inputs.
By inputs, he means things like labor, machines, seeds, and fertilizer. The war with Iran has caused vast disruption to the world's oil supply. Most fertilizer is made from products from the energy industry. So as oil and natural gas prices rise, so does the price farmers pay for the necessary ingredient in their crop cycle.
I'm worried because most farmers have taken equity out of their farms for the last 2 years to just be able to keep going.
And now is the time farmers like Maynard are getting everything ready that they need for spring planting season.
We made a budget to put in a crop, and overnight we saw the production of that crop increase by about $53 an acre.
They're also facing surging gas prices. Most farm equipment takes diesel, which is averaging over $5 a gallon nationally, up 42% from a month ago. The American Farm Bureau Federation sent a letter to the White House recently urging the Trump administration to take immediate action and warned food prices could go back to 2022 levels when inflation reached 40-year highs. And farmers like Maynard will be forced to make tough decisions.
We just can't go any further, and that's the sad part.
Maynard says many farmers will raise their prices, and that could mean higher prices at the grocery store. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Whether you're ready to pay for the prices or not, you should expect to see your grocery bills rise within the coming weeks.
Coming up next,
We'll look at what is on the 2026 primary ballot.
and what students who didn't travel for spring break did on an empty campus.
Stick with us.
On average, every Big Ten student wastes 112 pounds of garbage each year, but there's a fix. Make sure you use an Aussie when you dine in and be a part of the change.
It is election season again here in Lincoln. With the primaries coming up just around the corner on May 12th, it is important to know what will be on your ballot. In Lincoln, a U.S. Senate seat, U.S. House District 1 seat, and several state elections, including the governor race, Secretary of State, Attorney General, Auditor of Public Accounts, Treasurer, and University of Nebraska Board of Regents District 1. For more information on candidates and ballot initiatives, visit your county's Election Commission website.
If you want a say in the upcoming election, be sure you are registered to vote. To check if you are registered, head over to the nebraskavoterlookup.gov to register to vote. The online application is available 24/7 at nebraska.gov/go/NEREG2vote. You can also register in person at your county election office or by mail. The last day to register to vote is April 27th by mail and May 1st in person. Extended Election Day information can be found at the Nebraska Secretary of State website.
Yeah, I think it's important that students, especially if they're coming from another location, that they recognize that they can vote here and that they can have an influence on the matters that they get to vote on here, and that they know that they're actually making an impact when they vote.
Every March, thousands of sandhill cranes make a pit stop along the Pratt River during their migration to Canada. And every year, renowned wildlife photographer Mike Forsberg waits patiently with his camera. This year, a class of Husker students tag along to learn about a different kind of March Madness. The students will interpret their conservation experience into creative projects such as musical compositions, textiles, and short films.
While many students left for spring break, some stayed behind to keep residence halls running at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. For resident assistants, the job doesn't stop. Even on nearly empty campuses with fewer students around, the week was quieter than usual, but responsibilities remained.
Literally just walk around yourself. I had no calls. Other than that, it was really nice. I watched a bunch of rom-coms. I love rom-coms. Chilled on my couch. I cleaned a lot, which was nice.
Off duty, some took advantage of the slower pace, relaxing, watching movies, or exploring more of Lincoln. Even during the break, resident assistants stay on call, keeping campus safe for those who choose to stay.
Coming up next,
Nebraska wrestling finished their season in Cleveland,
and the Lead Center is putting on Broadway plays.
Stick with us.
Welcome back to Nebraska Nightly. I'm Matthew Mills. Though Nebraska basketball has been the talk of the town, there are plenty of other Nebraska programs in action. Last weekend, Nebraska wrestling finished up their season at the NCAA Championships in Cleveland, Ohio. The Huskers placed third as a team, trailing Oklahoma State and Penn State. Nebraska had two runner-up finishers in Antrell Taylor at 157 pounds and Christopher Minto at 174 pounds. As a team, 7 wrestlers earned All-American honors, wrapping up an impressive season on the mat for the Huskers. Former Nebraska football linebacker Levante David announced his retirement from the NFL earlier today after 14 seasons. In 2 seasons as a black shirt, David totaled 235 tackles, 11.5 sacks, and forced 5 turnovers. David spent all 14 years in the NFL as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. He is tied with Pro Hall of Famer Derek Brooks for the most tackles in Buccaneers franchise history with an astounding 1,714 total tackles. He will forever be known as a Husker great. As one Husker caps off his NFL career, many more look to make their name known at the highest level. Tomorrow morning, former Huskers and future Husker pros will showcase their skills at Nebraska's Pro Day. Running back Emmett Johnson and defensive back Deshaun Singleton will be in attendance and will hope to improve on their marks, they said at the early March NFL Combine. Last season, Johnson totaled over 1,800 yards from scrimmage and 15 touchdowns, earning him Big Ten Running Back of the Year honors. Singleton had 70 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 interceptions while leading the Blackshirts in 2025. At the NFL Combine, Singleton recorded the best broad jump and vertical jump among defensive backs. While former Huskers prepare for the NFL, current Huskers are finishing preparations for the spring game on Saturday. The spring game returns to its traditional red versus white format after Nebraska put on the Husker games last season. Look for quarterbacks Anthony Calandria and TJ Lateef to continue their positional battle after Saturday's game. The picture could look much clearer at who will start under center for the Huskers in 2026. The spring game will kick off at 11 a.m. at Memorial Stadium on Saturday. Husker softball and baseball continue to both perform on the diamond and have each earned themselves national rankings. 9th-ranked Husker softball is riding a 13-game winning streak after sweeping both series against Michigan and Michigan State. 7th-ranked UCLA comes to the town this weekend to play at Bowling Stadium, which will be an exciting conference matchup. On the other side of Haymarket Park, the baseball team just marked their first ranking of the season. D1 Baseball ranked the Huskers 24th in their latest poll after winning multiple games over Michigan State and Wichita State. The men are back in action tonight on the road against Kansas State at 6 p.m. That's it for sports. Jordan and Peyton, back to you guys.
The Leeds Center for Performing Arts recently announced its 2026-2027 Broadway season.
The lineup includes various Broadway hits like Hamilton, Clue, Shucked, and Water for Elephants. Bill Steffen, the executive director at the Leeds Center, is excited to see how Lincoln and UNL communities respond to the Leeds selections for this season.
Steffen says he's thrilled to be a part of UNL's students' educational and artistic journeys during their time at the University of Nebraska.
One thing that's really special about the Leeds Center is it's not just any artist program, but we literally have the greatest artists in the world. And for students, over a dozen of those performances are absolutely free to attend. We're really excited to have, titles like Hamilton. We have another mega title that we'll be announcing in May. That's one of the most popular titles requested to have at the Leeds Center. And it's a full week and it's going to be something everyone's really excited about.
UNL students can redeem a free ticket at the Leeds Center every semester with their NUID. To redeem this ticket, get more information on their website.
Broadway season and check out everything happening at the Leeds Center. Visit their website at www.leedscenter.org.
And it's a big weekend for Nebraska athletics. Mitchell, for the fans that are going to be outside this weekend, what can they expect?
Well, it's not going to be half bad. Like I said before, we've got a little dip, and we'll hit that part on Friday. It's going to be a little chilly Friday. High of 53 during the day, and softball is an 8 o'clock first pitch, so you're going to want a jacket Friday. Saturday, there's a little bit of wind. You might want your jacket again, but Sunday, if you can get by in the 70s, it'll be a beautiful day just to be at the park.
That's great. Great. And Matthew, what's that going to look like for Nebraska softball coming up?
Yeah, 7 seed UCLA comes to town to face 9 seed Nebraska. It'll be an exciting matchup all weekend.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch some softball.
Lots of sports to watch. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nebraska Nightly.
Be sure to follow us on social media at Nebraska Nightly.
Our next live show is this Friday. Have a great night.
Nebraska Nightly is a production of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln's College of Journalism and Mass Communications.